Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about an interesting topic, negotiation. A topic I'm passionate about because of two reasons. First, I have been observing negotiation as well as doing negotiations since my childhood because I born in India where people negotiate for almost everything. Merchandise, cab fare, even for vegetables and fruits because there is literally no fixed price tag. So the second reason why I'm passionate about this topic is because most of my research so far is on this topic, negotiation, including my doctoral research. My PhD thesis was on this topic. So what is negotiation? Negotiation is a mutual decision-making process where two or more individuals try to reach an agreement. We all do negotiation. In this country, people negotiate for cars, selling a car, buying a car, house. We do negotiation. Even for salary negotiation, it's very common in this country. But negotiation does not happen only for economic transaction. It happens in other interaction also. For example, partners at home, they do negotiation for household work. Who will do the laundry? Who will wash the dishes? Parents negotiate with kids for screen time. Politicians, they negotiate for policy making. We regularly see in Washington, D.C. about that. They negotiate. But if you don't negotiate or if you don't do negotiation effectively, what will happen? We'll fight openly, surrender, or break off the contact. That's what we do if we don't do negotiation or if we don't do it properly. But there are some people who are effective negotiators. Who are those people? Why they are different than many others who are not effective in negotiation? My negotiation research found that these effective negotiators do three fundamental principles. They use these three fundamental principles when they do negotiation. What are those three fundamental principles I'm going to talk about? The first is, when we do negotiation, there are two kinds of outcomes whenever we talk about negotiation. One is we all know objective outcome, price, salary. That is a common, which we know that objective outcomes. The second, which negotiation researchers say, social psychological outcome or subjective outcome. Trust, relationship, impression, fairness. All these are also outcomes which we look for from a negotiation. These effective negotiators know which one they should value more when they go at the bargaining table. So if you're going for a one-time negotiation, probably these effective negotiators give more value to objective outcomes than subjective outcome. But if they are thinking about long-term relationship, they value relationship, they can make a balance between subjective and objective outcome, or can give more value to subjective outcomes over objective outcomes. The second principle is about two dilemmas we always face when we negotiate with an unknown negotiator. One dilemma is called dilemma of trust. How much should we trust the other party? Whatever they are saying, is it true? And the second dilemma is dilemma of honesty. How much should we be honest? Should we tell all the information? Should we reveal everything? Or should we hide something? So these effective negotiators know how to play around with these two dilemmas. Along the same line, when we talk about negotiation, every time we just think negotiation is all about at the bargaining table. But negotiation has three stages. The first stage is called preparation. Effective negotiators prepare well for their negotiation. What is preparation then? What should we prepare for when we negotiate? There are 4 reference points which we should always have before going for negotiation. The first one is walk-away point. What price we will walk away? If a seller is giving us a price which is not in our limit, we should walk away. That should be decided before going for negotiation. The second is called target point or your aspiration point. What you target? What is your target point? That should be decided before negotiation. The third one is called alternatives. How many alternatives you have? So for example, if you're going for a job negotiation, how many job offers you have? In negotiation research, we call it BATNA, best agreement you have before negotiation agreement. So these effective negotiators play with these 3 points. They prepare well and get these 3 points very effectively. The fourth one is very important. The initial offer, the first offer. When you go to buy a car, think about it. The seller asks you, what price do you have in mind? Most of the people, they decide about that first offer at the bargaining table. It should be decided before negotiation. When someone asks you, what is your first offer, you should have a number. Why so? Because research shows that people tend to anchor that first offer, and that first offer used to decide the whole negotiation process and outcome. We generally ignore that. Even experienced researchers, experienced negotiators, they tend to be influenced by this first offer, that initial offer. So how can you get these 4 points? If you do thorough research, you get information, you can decide about these points before negotiation. Not only you can find your points, you may find walkaway point or target point of your counterpart. And then another thing which is very important, when you do research, you may know the action and behavior of your counterpart, and that can give you some sense of their personality. My own research shows that personality influences negotiation outcome. Think about a counterpart who is likable, who is agreeable. Probably for him or her, subjective values, subjective outcomes such as relationship is more important than objective outcome. But think about a negotiator who is dominant, who is assertive. For him or her, maybe objective outcomes is more important than subjective outcome. So if you have sense of their action behavior, probably you can decide your tactics and actions at the bargaining table accordingly. Remember the last time you went for a car negotiation, how much preparation you have done? How many of you went through the website called truecar.com or cargurus.com, where you will find different MSRPs across different dealers for the same car, same color, same model? How many students know that there is a graduate discount of $500 to $1,000 for every degree they do? After graduation, they get the discount immediately if they buy the car. So once you do all these preparations, you should know to use that at the second stage, which is at bargaining table, the bargaining stage. If you do not know how to use your BATNA, your alternatives, if you have high alternatives, for example, if you have five job offers, if you don't know how to use that power, because alternatives give you power, if you don't know how to do that, you may not be an effective negotiator. You should know how to deal with hardball tactics. When someone is bullying you, or someone is giving you exploding offer, what we call exploding offer, you have 2 hours to accept or reject an offer, job offer. If you don't know how to deal with the exploding offer, effective negotiators are very good in that. They know how to deal with these things. There are some other hardball tactics, like what we call bogey. You will see that many car dealers, they give you, we will give you free car floor mats, but they will not negotiate on the price. Or they will give you moving expenses. Yeah, definitely, you can get $15,000 moving expense, but they will not negotiate on salary. Or they will give you small concession. I will give you $100 off or $50 off. These effective negotiators know how to deal with these hardball tactics. And there is another important aspect. What if the other party is expressing anger a lot in negotiation? Emotions also influence the negotiation outcome. Research shows that people, when they express anger, the other party concede more. They demand less. But there is a trade-off. That is on the cost of trust, relationship, which we always have. And think about it. If you do hardball tactics, if you are bully, if you express all these negative emotions, what will happen at the third stage, which we call implementation stage? You express anger, you get your deal terms, whatever you wanted, but what if the other party is not agree to implement it properly? This happens all the time. So whatever benefits you got at the bargaining stage may have cost at the implementation stage. It's important. Research shows positive emotions motivates negotiators to do implementation properly. So overall, what we have learned, we all do negotiation in our life, but we should know how to use this basic principle in every negotiation we do. If we know there are two kind of outcome, like objective outcome, subjective outcome, we will know how to value them. Which one we should give value more than others. If we know the dilemmas of honesty and the dilemma of trust, and we should know how to play with that, we can do better. And the third one, if you prepare well, if you know how to behave in bargaining stage, at the bargaining stage, and also at the implementation stage, we can become better negotiators. If you do that, you can learn the art of negotiation. Thank you so much.